What's up, Rockstars? I have a treat in here. This is Arkeis. This was funded like 3-4 years ago. It's been long in the making. Well, long in the coming. I think it was made a long time ago. They only just now started shipping it for whatever reason, price, or God only knows why. But it's finally here. I was excited about this because it promises a 30-hour campaign. It's how they advertised it. And I was like, sweet, one I'll actually complete. Because as much fun as it is to get a 100-hour campaign, or 300-hour campaign, or 500-hour campaign, it feels like cell phone text stats from like back when, right? Where they always set it up, and it's like, this one has 800 megapixels, and it's like, okay, it still looks good. Like this it did with 20. Anyway, I'm excited because this is actually playable and crinkly paper. It's Egyptian themed, which my wife will appreciate, and I like too, so it's super cool about that. Oh, we got one big box here, and one little box here. 4 years. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Let me make sure I think fairly well. Get rid of that loudly. Okay, let's open her up. Well, I guess before we even open it up, let's go ahead. I love the art of this because it's just this and some faded stuff. There's a little bit here. I don't know what is that. I don't even know. It looks almost like a spaceship or something. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, it's got the brand, and then it's got the artist on there too, which is very cool to feature the artist. And then of course, people who made the game right there. This is the Kickstarter edition, so it is different than what you will see in retail. Should this go to retail? Looks like it's got some art on the side there, along with some information. And some art facing the other direction on there. I don't know how. I guess it means if you're putting it sideways in your shelf, it still has the name of the box, which is super cool. And the side, if you put it face first, that works too. If you put it on its side, you get a choice as well, so that'll still look good there. And in fact, even if you put it on the side here, that would look good too. That's actually pretty cool. I actually appreciate that. That's cool. Let's see what the back looks like. This is a Kickstarter edition. Now see, this I always find funny. Is this really necessary on the Kickstarter edition? Both yes and no. Normally, I would say no, because anybody who backed this knows the game. They don't need to know all of this. This is like advertising. This is like marketing, or at least telling you, hey, this was what in the game. However, plenty of friendly local gaming stores will back Kickstarter edition of games and stock them, in which case this will end up on a shelf. In which case, somebody might choose to buy this without first knowing about it in depth. So in that case, I actually kind of approve on it. Actually, it also looks like it's a little bent here. I'm wondering if this is a sleeve. So let's see exactly what it is we're looking at here. Maybe. All right. Quite thick wrapping, actually. I do appreciate that. That's nice. So far, this has all been quality. It's okay. It arrived nice as well, which is good. I don't think it... it is a sleeve. Okay, and that's why you see that little bit of wrapping there. Interesting. So I'm wondering, does that mean that the Kickstarter version is just the sleeve? Sometimes it means that they have different sleeves for different languages and stuff like that, so they don't have to put each one there, but as you can see, it's just that. So let's go ahead and slide it out of the sleeve and see what is underneath. Aha. The non-Kickstarter edition. So I actually don't. I mean, it doesn't say Kickstarter edition anymore. So is that the difference, really? I mean, hopefully there's. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure. That's kind of funny though. You can pick which art you like more. Actually, I prefer the more simple one, personally. But that's just me. But otherwise, you still get these sides were the same, so you still get that, and that explains the back as well. I guess actually the back was changed. Oh, look at that! The back on the what? We got a full art thing. This is the side you want to show now. The back of the box. Interesting. Okay. All right. Whatever. They can do what they want. Ugh. Okay. Definitely one of those. I'm lifting it up now. Where if you didn't hate everything, or at least if you didn't care, you could poke a little hole in the lid, and it would lift up a lot easier. Flipping that over. Taking a look at the box. So yeah, deep wells like this. Actually, Again, it's very hard to open boxes when they're this deep, and you get a lot more play on this, especially on this side. It looks like, I don't know if it's not quite square. I think it's a little bit longer this way. Anyway, so you get quite a bit of give there. The glue job on this seems quite even. They all match. I don't see any big tags or something like that, and no markings around here, so that's good too. I like to have it painted black. It doesn't cost too much more. It looks a little bit more finished than just like the raw cardboard, but it's whatever. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. All right, so here we have kind of a thank you funded with Kickstarter. Now, I don't know if this is for just the Kickstarter or not. Oh yeah, so this is the little sleeve they put for the Kickstarter. Here's the list of KSE components. Again, not actually a whole lot, so a lot of it was just the game itself. That's kind of interesting to see. Just some tokens, only 2 miniatures, right? A few things like that. So that's kind of cool. I dig that. And yeah, take a picture or film your unboxing. That'll work too. That's good evidence. All right, we got the rule book here. So I can tell you right now, I don't like the shape of this rule book or the size. I prefer thicker rule books that are not so huge. This is big and unwieldy. First of all, it makes it super hard to read it on the toilet, but more importantly, on the table, when you're a normal person using a rule book, it takes up a lot of space, right? So this takes up a big portion of there if you're laying it down. Now, the rule book is not very thick, right? In fact, we got, 20 pages, because the back even shows that. So that's not too bad, but let me zoom out because this is such a big rule book. You can see what I'm talking about here. All right, so when it's open up, it just takes up such a big part, and I don't like that. A lot of times I don't know if they use it for packaging to like put it in the box or whatever, but I don't like them when they're this big. There's a lot of extra space, and I'm not saying I want it crammed. It's non-optimal. The mummy inside the mummy, the pharaoh inside the pharaoh, that's kind of cool. I appreciate the art. That's kind of cool that they have artwork in the back. But what would be even better is if they had an index in the back that I could look up. But there is no index. Now, granted, your rule book is like 15 pages, 16 pages. All that means is it's a super easy index, 17 pages. So that's not too bad either, especially when some of the pages are barely anything. Yeah, overall, a very inefficient rulebook in that regard. But hopefully that means it plays pretty well. They do have like call-out boxes, right? Little colored call-out boxes, and they have, I don't see any bolding per se. They do have a list of components with the name of them, but no count. So you don't know like how many adversary profiles there are. But otherwise, that's pretty good. Looks like, what is this? Components. Maybe this is a count of what you get. It looks like that's it. That's kind of an interesting way to do it, I suppose. You do have some bolding here. You have some icons inside, stuff like that. So, I mean, I'll let you guys know what I think of it once I actually read it. But not the best rule book. But I've had far worse. At least this one's all in one language by the looks of it. So there's that. All right, now this is kind of interesting. Look at like the negative space here. Like there is just already space open up. That's before I punch out cardboard, which often you'll save space because then they like go into storage or whatever. So that's kind of interesting. Looks like here we got a expedition logbook. Oh, what is this? Okay, so this is I think part of the campaign. You can put your explorers in here. So hopefully there's a PDF of this online where you can print this out so you're not marking inside the book. It'd be kind of unfortunate if it was all one. If I'm not mistaken, there was some sense of like legacy component to this. I'm not so sure. Looks like this is just some information on how to play. So interesting enough, there's more rules inside of the expedition logbook, which I don't like. I'd rather all the rule books be in one space. Yeah. So you're like marking in this book otherwise, but I believe they have some options to not do that. So we will see, of course. I'll let you know. Or maybe you know. Maybe you can let me know. Let us know in the comments below. Camp Archives. I do like the feel of this is cool. I like the matte look of it. And the artwork is neat. It's like really rigid too. Like in a weird sort of way. Why is that? What is in here? Did it get wet? This looks wet. Look at this, guys. What even is this? Hello? Why is it? Why is it like that? It's like super stuck together. How did this get wet? What happened here? I can like barely open that. What in the world? I've never had this before. Oh, is it all stickers? It's all stickers. That's why. Okay, I was like, what in the world is going on here? I knew it felt weird. So that's just like the sticker glue or whatever. So you can like, see, you can peel these off and stick them on stuff. Yep, so that's definitely legacy there. A lot of different stuff here. Don't want to spoil too much of that. It feels weird. Feels weird. Never had it like tightly bound. I was like, all the tokens look fine. Okay, so we got some tokens here that looks like you can punch out. They do have some hefty tags when it comes to the strength of those tags. But you leave them off. I think they look pretty good. Not too bad. It's not like rubbing off or anything like that. These are nice. Slightly spongy, not too bad. It's pretty compressed. I dig that. Let's see what else we got here. We got some got a whole bunch of odd shapes and stuff here. We got like these things. They punch out just fine. So that's good. Yeah, no, seems nice. Okay, anything interesting. I don't want to punch out just everything. Just anything that's like kind of odd. Looks like all this. Again, those tags are pretty hefty, but they stick to there, not to there almost at all. So that's nice, actually. Like that's very nice. Oh, I can't even get that back in. Whatever. Got some more tokens here. Not too many tokens. Not too heavy. Do get some different shapes here. Again, they punch out great. They look nice. They're very shiny, as you can see. I mean, I got light poking at it, but so pretty shiny. Pretty shiny. All right, but they feel nice. Like those are quality. I like them. Those are good. So far, a good start. Minus the scare with the stickers. All right, now here again, this is all lopsided and it's very weird. I've never had a box look like this before, angled like that. Like that is so. It's still angled down there. You can see where these are rubbing. So these trays often will have this little flaring, and that will often grip and scrape the inside of the box. I don't know why. I don't know if they are there on purpose, like they want them to grip the sides, or if they just don't trim them out and this is just like the seam line. I'm not sure, but you can always cut this with a blade if you want, and it'll stop that from doing that. Though, again, you don't get a choice once it ships to you. There is some scuffing on here. There's been a lot of movement and scratching, but it's still fine. That being said, with no wells, this is just open season for these dice. So you get this little mini game where you got to, it's kind of like where you have to get the, yeah, see how much, okay, whatever. So there are no locking indents here. Often they'll have little indents and impressions on these that'll help lock the lid in place. No such thing here. So these dice are just everywhere. These cards are just everywhere. Who knows what it was originally organized like. All right, well, let's take a break from that and look at these. So this, again, quite rigid. I like this. Not a whole lot of bend at all, really. Again, very smooth outside. Actually, there's a little bit of a roughness to it, but just slightly. I'm actually kind of surprised by that because the cuts look very clean. I don't see any real tags at all. This looks really nice. It doesn't look like it's really warped or anything. Maybe some slight warping, but nothing too bad. So that should be pretty flush, yeah. Art looks good. Coloration looks good. All that looks great. I dig that. Love the fact that you can be a hippo person. Okay, I've just sworn that was an enemy. I don't know. It's been a while. So it looks like, oh, there's Guardian. Okay, so the back side of these are like the animals or whatever. Interesting. Except for this one. Wait. Does Indiana Jones not get their own? No. And that almost looks straight like Indiana Jones, right? Right, and there's his dad. That's what I see. I'm sure that was a happy coincidence. Okay, so it looks like we got some boxes of cards. That's kind of interesting. We do have a few ones here. We got the Adventurer's Hat. Again, very Indiana Jones for Robert Pierce. I don't know why that's separate per se. And we have here, stop, do not shuffle this pile, and do not look at what's in it. You don't have to boss me. Nobody told you what you could tell me. So there's cards in here. Guess we're not going to look what's in it. Sorry. This is a crap unboxing. I didn't show you everything. Okay, these are empty as I suspected. So I imagine eventually cards will go in these. So that's kind of fun. It looks like they have, each person gets their own. This is like a save system. So that's kind of cool. The only thing that's uncool is the fact that they're tuck boxes. So then this is as nice as they're ever going to look, and they're going to look way worse afterwards because you're going to have to open it up. And tuck boxes inherently like break themselves as you open it because you have to like push in on this and then pull up, and you're just bending, and there's the tabs there, so you're kind of bent. Like you see there, now it's bent just by opening up there. Now I got that bent. I hate tuck boxes. They are the worst kind of box I can think of because you actively damage them over time. Whereas a lidded one, you don't. I do not like them. They're cheaper because you can print them flat. But they're cheaper because they're also crap. And crap's often cheap. Not always, though. Sometimes it's expensive. We are on Kickstarter, after all. All right, let's look at some dice. Tell you right now, I like the color. Okay, so here we got some dice. I love the yellow and the green. I think that's really good. The green doesn't have so much yellow that I would mistake it, though it is fairly close. So if you're more colorblind than I am, that might be a little bit of an issue. The red as well, I think, can be a little bit brighter. When it's on black, that red can often seem a little dark. Now, I have a lot of light pumping into it, but if it's on the table and you just rolled it and you're in a normally lit room, that X is going to be kind of hard to see at times. So a brighter X would help. Often I find where it's close to almost orange looks best with black. If you're on like this off-white, which isn't quite white, that works too. And obviously the black works good. These are painted in really well. Really well. So far, I am impressed. Yeah, this doesn't look bad at all. These are really nice. I like these dice. They're rounded, kind of Chiswick style. Oh, see, that's already satisfying. All right, we do have some cards here and some cards here. So let's take a look. Zoom in a little bit. No, we'll open them close to the camera. I'll do that instead. You just open them first. Damage them first. And really old, like the first Magic the Gathering packs, they had the instructions inside. And so if you want to open those up, you're already wearing gloves, obviously, but you could cut where the instructions were and not damage the cards. Fun fact for you. Where did I cut that? There we go. Oh, great. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. All right. There's those. Okay. Throw that trash on the ground. Make one of my kids pick it up. All right. So these slightly bent. You can already see them just slightly. Not too bad. So to check, you can flip them like that. And you can see there's a gap. So that's flush here and then not there. So that's the curve, right? Not too bad at all, to be honest. Like that's not bad. Nothing bad about that. What did I happen to... Hello? Oh, they're like double-sided. So now I won't know where I flipped it. Oh, man. Whatever. We'll flip it there. All right. They are very skinny, guys. Extremely skinny. So these will bend out the wazoo. So you might want to sleeve them. Because of this special backs, they'll probably have to be transparent sleeves. So just as an FYI. But... they look nice. I like the coloration on them. The border looks good. Now we're over here. It looks like some injuries, like a broken thumb and bloody eyes. Commotion. Oh, I hate commotion. That's just as bad as bloody eyes. Broken wrist, broken finger, a hemorrhage, a sprain, which is blank. But it does have instructions underneath. Interesting that some are blank. Cognitive impairment. I mean, we all suffer from that from time to time, right? Very skinny cards, like extremely. But otherwise, the print quality is really nice. I think I want to zoom in a little bit. All right, so here we got different stuff as well. This is a scarab. It's a mechanical. I think this is the enemy card here. But so it's got 1 health. Maybe it's AI here. Eliminate 1 scarab. Eliminate 1 scarab and take 1 injury. Take 1 injury for each scarab in your zone. I don't know exactly what that is. But we will find out. And then just art on the back. The art looks nice. I like that. Got a whole bunch of scarabs. Got some scorpions here. Again, kind of mechanical a little bit. And it says hybrid instead of mechanical. That's interesting to note. It's part scorpion, part robot. All bad. Knot of snakes. Just what everybody wants. Zealot, obviously human, as all zealots pretty much are. Unless they're aliens. Zealot, Zealot. Zealot. A Naga. It's an interesting look for a Naga. It's not exactly how I would have put it. A Tomb Robber. Not a Raider, a Robber. A Golem. Those are cool. I like that. Look at the art on the back there. Super cool. I dig that. Still fairly shiny. There is a linen finish, and often linen finishes I find can be quite shiny. This is one of them where it's just really reflective. So often I appreciate not having linen for that reason. Priestess, also human. Robots can't be like priests and stuff. Mummy, mechanical mummy, very interesting. A Scarab Mechanical Elite, Scorpion Mummy. Okay, so then there's Elite version of all of those. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Feel like instead of doing the, I mean, maybe this has a purpose besides looking great, looks great. But if not, then putting the Elite on the back would have like solved the problem anyway. But saved you a few cards, I guess. All right, that's it for this first tray. Let's put this back together slightly. Just slightly. And I don't know how, like, these were in here. Like, were they just in like this? Like, how does that, they all fit in like that? Yeah, looks like it. Guess so. All right. There you go. There's one. We got another one here. Zoom out. Again, still really slanted. I don't know what the slant... There's something underneath that's slanting all this. We'll find out. As you can see, there's some minis coming up. This is really thick and heavy. I will say that I love the black trays. They look nice. I like their a little bit of lip here, though it's funny that this doesn't match that. Again, a lot of scuff marks on there. Okay, so now we got different episodes, and it looks like different things within those episodes. Now, I'm going to do 0-0 because obviously that will be the first one and won't be ruining anything you're not going to see at the very beginning. Tuck boxes, again, hate them. Just always. That's just a blanket rule for me. Oh, this is not a tuck box. How do you go? Oh, yeah, it is. So again, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to bend in, and now I've creased that side. Actively dislike tuck boxes. They are the worst. Look at that. That looks like garbage now, all because I had to open it. And in this are some cards. Now, the question is, do they all just have cards? Because if so, instead of having a little box, which maybe it's kind of fun, you get to open the box, I guess, but you could have just put a thing on both sides so you can see. This one just said episode 00, right? But it doesn't, so whatever. 0.0. I don't know. It is interesting that they're different colors, right? That's kind of interesting. Do any of these have, I mean, I imagine this one's heavier. Like some have like tokens and stuff in them, maybe. Oh, yeah, this one's not moving almost at all. Okay, so they are different. Guess time will tell. I'm gonna wait on the minis. I want to just have a miniature section for you guys that only care about those. I know you guys exist. That's all right. I'm not judging. At the very end. So we're gonna skip these two. And look at this. Go ahead. I wonder if this is what wasn't sitting well. Because look, they're like in like these weird little boxes. Oh, is this just... Oh, okay, hello. Alright. So it looks like there's just more stuff in here. Okay, yeah, this is like... Alright. So this is where like all the cardboard and stuff is to like actually kind of play. So let's go and take this out. Look at all the minis. Definitely there's some room to compress and consolidate all of this. And this on the bottom. So one thing, kind of an issue on the bottom, means that it does get a little pushed in, but otherwise not too bad. So looks like You can go in there and actually play in there. These are actually like walls. You get to actually like play in here. It looks like they have some different stuff, which you can't really explain. There's some junk going on, I can tell you that much. Sun's going down. But then you could have that like lead to it and stuff like that is my understanding. Then you have even smaller rooms inside of that. So you can make all these like kind of interesting maps. And again, there are little spaces here too that you can kind of go around and do things and kind of go inside. The walls are pretty cool. I like it. I suspect I'll take lots of pictures as I play this. And again, kind of same here. And then these, obviously, smaller still have different stuff in them also. So, pretty efficient way to store it. But I imagine like one of these was like put in like this or something like that. This wasn't quite put in well. Looks like one of these just has cards too, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to do that just to keep everything together. But we're going to look at this before minis. You know how it is. What is this? Just more cards. Okay, and again, one of the least efficient ways really to store this little bit in this, right? I mean, but they're worried about shipping as well. So let's go ahead and look. This just looks like this just looks like it's area cards and trap cards, probably a whole bunch of stuff. It looks like it's very symbol heavy, so be prepared to learn a new language. Often what I say about symbols is if you put everything in English, then a lot of people that play your game will probably already know the language it's written in. If you use symbols, nobody knows the language that it's written in, and everybody has to translate it. Now, that's not necessarily, like the end of the discussion, but it is something I observe. Nobody knows your symbols. We all have to learn that. That's everybody translating. This symbol means this, right? Whereas even if it was just English keywords, right, then anybody who can read English would know exactly what it is. Anybody else might have to translate it or something like that. But anyway, just my opinion. So we got 4 to 5 players on the top of all of this. I'm assuming only if we're playing with 4 to 5 people do we have these encounters. And is that it? Just encounters? These are encounters, apparently. I mean, obviously they're encounters. Not a lot of theming going on there. Okay, and then we have traps, lots of traps. And then free play mode is what all of these are. So all of these are free play mode where you get curses and cult whips and a rustic axe. See, this is thematic. Do you see the difference here in style? Like, is it just me? Let me zoom in a little bit. Is it just me, or does this almost look like it belongs to 2 different games? Right? This one is super thematic. You see the weapon in the chest, surrounded by sand, and it kind of tells you a little bit about it. That's super cool. This is so abstract and so devoid of any kind of art or anything like that. Now, I think it's supposed to be semi-technological, and I guess we could excuse it that way. It does feel at odds with like stuff like this, at least. Right? I mean, that is like super cool. I love these cards with the art like this. Is awesome. Love it. That's great. That is showing everything exactly kind of how you're finding it. I dig that a lot. These are cool. Yep, I am a fan. Yeah, see, you're actually holding up the vial of vitriol. Lovely. A little cramped on text there. That's kind of funny. And then again, we're to very abstract with these traps, with like no art theming at all. Like, wouldn't it be interesting if the trap actually showed the trap? Like, this is an irritating mist. Why don't you show the mist? Wouldn't that be cool? Poison darts fly. Yeah, show me some poison dart shooting. Just like these other cards here. I would really prefer that, personally. I think that'd be cool. All right, let's look at some of these area tiles. I don't know if they're all area tiles. What is this? Area. Yeah, they're all area. And then we got this. And I don't know why this is a card. Why this is separate from a tile or anything like that. But it is what it is. These are a little bit larger. Let me zoom out a little bit for you. There you go. Okay. Pharaoh's Urg. So it looks like we used this, perhaps, on this. Maybe. So these are just different areas you can kind of find yourself in. It looks like to start out as you go and explore and stuff. That's kind of interesting. All right. Put this in its inefficient casing. I I do like that there's little things to grab it. That's helpful. Okay. And now, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. Miniatures. Let's take a look. Why don't we start with these special ones here? These ones at the bottom. So I can start building this back up. Okay, so we got quite a few here. All right, so yeah, very, very nice. I like that. So flat base, first of all, that's just kind of almost a given. It does say copyright, but it doesn't give me a year, sadly. That's unfortunate. It stays fairly flat. It's a very thin base, so I imagine, yeah, I can warp it just by looking at it wrong. So just be careful with that. I do like the brim here on the dress. That's very helpful for painting. It makes it look a little bit nicer if you're not going to angle it up. The negative space here means that they did add another part, and I do appreciate that. The hair going back there also looks very nice. The goggles up here look good. So this light color is not ideal for showing detail. So once you paint it or even prime it, it's going to look better just by showing more detail. The robe has some good texture on it. This, like, the clasps and stuff here do. Same with, like, the edge of this, like, satchel thing that she's got going on. Yeah, this little band looks good. This is nice. I think probably the only thing that might be a little weird is the tiny hands. I think this happens often with some of these minis, and I don't know exactly why. I don't know if there's just too much shrinkage or what. But a hand is not, like, that much smaller than your face. And this seems like her hand would only reach up to, like, her nose. Can you imagine putting your hand, like, go ahead and do that. You're sitting at your computer right now. Nobody's looking. Go ahead and do that. Put your hand to your face and see how far past your nose your fingers go. Let me know if it's accurate. But it feels like this only is, like, the Batman portion that shows, like, his chin, like, for her whole hand. It, like spread out. So I see that often. A lot of with female characters too. So like for instance, his big muscle man over here, his hands are actually fairly large. Especially this one, which is like a weird robot thing, which is super cool. I love that he's coming off the base a little bit, a super action pose. I appreciate that, and not too many parts either. It looks like just this hair here to make it kind of sit up like that is separate, and it makes it look so much better not being morphed there. So I do appreciate that. The detail level on these is quite nice. I like these pants with the wrinkles in the pockets and stuff. Very good. The facial features are there. Yeah, all that looks good. I like it. Again, the color is unfortunate. I get why they did it, but having a darker color, like a dark gray, works really good. These are really small miniatures, and the light pools over and doesn't properly do shadows and highlights and stuff. So it kind of blurs everything out, especially when it's light like this. This cape is good. Look how skinny the cape is, guys. Love it. It's not super thick or anything like that. It looks great. I mean, it is. It's nice and sturdy, but the edge of it kind of comes a little bit more to a point. It's not just some big block. The flare, the fire here looks awesome. This wrapping here looks great. These are really nice. I really like these. This is a little bent, but I think it's supposed to be a little bent. I don't think it's supposed to be straight. Cause see, he then bends this way too. Yeah, cool. I like it. All right. Now we got this one, the Dad Jones. Love the hat. The beard looks cool. The glasses, those are really. Oh, does he have glasses? Yes, he does. It's very hard to tell. Again, it's very light, which makes it kind of difficult because, again, I think this detail is actually really nice. This crease here, like, is super good. These creases are really crisp, really crisp. I like that they're willing to put something on the base if it helps with the pose. This briefcase looks nice. It may be a little soft compared to everything else, but I think it's separate from the base too. Again, it's got a nice crisp line here. Yeah, very cool. I like them. Last one of this box here is this lady here. And again, the hair looks great. I like that. The backpack looks super cool. Almost looks like a face there. It's kind of creepy. Again, pretty small hands, so her hands look a little bit bigger. See, her fingers are coming up to like here. Part of that first lady, that seems a lot more normal. Yeah, her hands are bigger for sure. A little bit of a mold line here, but nothing I'm really seeing too bad on the miniatures themselves, which is nice too. So, very cool. I like those. Those are cool. All right, next up we got two big minis, so let's take a look at that. Look at this one. So this one definitely thicker here, right? Pretty thick wings here. But at the end, they did taper them, which is kind of nice. And it looks like they even curl in a little bit from like the angle. That's kind of cool. So I think it still works. And again, it's robotic as well. It's not like an actual feather. Parts-wise, it looks like the head fit on pretty nicely. And the legs are pretty good. There's a little bit of a gap here. But again, considering it's a robot, I think that works. Same with this. I don't know if this is supposed to be this bent or if it's supposed to be out more. But either way, it works fine. It's attached to the base quite well. All the texturing down here looks good too because you'll be able to see that. The depth here is awesome. Love that depth. And the lines here are crisp. This is probably the only part I'm a little kind of bummed about is this flat part here is fairly soft in the plastic, which works if it's organic, but when it's metal, right? This should be a really crisp line. And instead, as you can see, it's slightly wavy. And so that's probably the only unfortunate part I have with that. These lines are good. Those lines are good. Yeah, everything else is great. I like it. Probably the only kind of negative comment I have on that. Yeah, cool mini. All right, we got one more here. That's another big one. We're going to start with the big ones. Why not? All right, so this guy, again, super cool. I love it. Is he too big? He's almost too big. I'm going to keep it zoomed in, though. The hands obviously look great. This is bent by the looks of it. And part of it's because it's not glued. I almost would have preferred it, ooh, crap, to be like right here and glued. It's almost like it's too big. So it is that little bit of curve, but you do move the hands up when you do that. But I still think that's probably more accurate, like right there. So I might glue that. It looks like this is bent a little bit too. So a little bit there. It is slightly shiny, so I think it's an ABS PVC mix. PVC is almost always very matte, and ABS is always shiny. And so if you get some shininess in the plastic, I think that's normally mixed. You can mix them. They're manufactured the same way, have similar melting points and stuff like that, so it works. This like rib cage here is super cool. Super cool. And again, painting, if you were to paint this Pharaoh to really show the small one inside the big mech one, I think it works even better. Let's see, this is cool. I really like the little flails here. They're all connected, but it looks good. There's not really a soft spot in there. Again, this is slightly bent as well. It needs to be a little bit straighter. I like the little hole here in the staff. That's cool also. It would have been nice. These are hanging if like this was angled. So right now it's angled like it's up, but really they should be angled like, do you know what I'm saying? Where they're both pointing down. So this one, right, if it's like this, should be pointed a little bit more like that for gravity to affect it properly. And instead it looks kind of rigid there. That's a small thing there. I like that this is moving away from his leg instead of just like being warped or anything like that. So that looks good. The lines here are crisp. There's 3 layers here and they're all layered there. So that looks nice. This is perhaps the only bummer is underneath the arm guard here. This is like a void and you just have to kind of paint it black because it's not actually a void, it's flat. Makes sense why that's the case. But see, when you get multi-part, you can do stuff like that, the void. You can't really do it when it's like that. This would have had to be a much more complex part, right, where this fit inside of it, which would be freaking sweet. But for a board game mini, pretty darn cool. I like them. All right, well, this is next. I have a comment about this lock here. I want to, before we forget, if you recall, there's some stuff here. So let's take a look. Ooh, that was loud. Okay. So, in here, we have some of these gates, which are kind of cool. Definitely interesting. It looks like they do come detached. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. I think they just go in between. But I imagine they hold something. Perhaps something like this? Almost looks like that, right? Like that? Huh? 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 Yeah? Okay. I don't know what that does for you, but anyway, you get a few of those. They're nicely textured. I like the cracks and stuff on them. They obviously look old, right? The sides are kind of interesting because it looks like only slightly. Like, for instance, this one you see it's all like damaged here, and this one there's nothing, and then a little bit up here, a tiny bit down there, but mostly smooth. So it would have been nice to see a little like this, right? There's a tiny little nick here, but then all smooth here. It would have been nice to see a little bit more breakage like this, just so it doesn't look quite, the sharp angles don't quite stand out so much. But yeah, no, those are cool. I dig it. We also have two characters. These are the Kickstarter characters, I believe. So we got this one here, and of note is it's a different color. In fact, all these other ones are different colors, because I believe these are all enemies. Be my assumption here. Maybe this does both. I'm not sure. Again, so that kind of flexible base. That being said, they tend to stand pretty good from what I can tell. I'll keep taking a look at that. So one interesting thing of note. I believe he's supposed to have two of the same blade by the looks of it. All right, two of these little curved things. And yet, look at the skinniness of this one and the thickness of this one. So that's kind of weird. Like, why would they have one way and one the other? I'm not sure. I don't know why. Perhaps because this is a separate piece. So this was separated here, I believe. It looks like it was. So it looks like this was separated as well. So I'm not exactly sure what the issue is and why one's thicker than the other. But yeah, I can't unsee that. So that's unfortunate, really. It would have been nice to have them both this thickness, because this looks like this works out really well. I'm wondering if they both look pretty shiny, so there's some ABS in there. So why one would still be thicker, I don't know. I wonder if sometimes these things happen on accident. So again, there's a lot of revisions on miniatures, and I'm wondering if this originally was not so ABS mixed, right? Because it is pretty shiny, even compared to the rest of the mini. So I'm wondering if perhaps that originally was thickened for the PVC, and then they decided, oh no, let's just make it like a separate one where we can make it skinnier, but then they didn't make it skinnier. Either way, it is kind of funny that they don't match. It's not, I mean, terrible, but it is a little thick. This is good though. Look, the fact that this is not solid all the way through, which would happen often, but it's a separate piece, right? Because you can't have that negative space otherwise. So they pushed that in there, a little probably key in there. Very nice. The hood is nice. The mask is cool. Love the deep recesses to the eyes. The feet are okay. There's toes there, I suppose. Hanging over the base is good. This little inlet there, that's nice to see. Obviously, all the wrinkles and stuff look great on the cape and all that. And this little kind of Anubis-looking kind of shoulder pad, very cool. I like this mini a lot. That's just the only weird thing there. All right, and now for this one. It looks like she's very much kind of going that way, right? So kind of more forward. And again, this negative space here is great. The thickness of the cape, fantastic. Really like that. Again, it's actually fairly thick in the middle, but then it comes out to a nice tapered end that makes it look really good. You can see how shiny this one is, by the way. So they're definitely ABS mixed, and that helps with this little blade too. In fact, this whole skinny arm, really, I imagine. The little Anubis little piece of pottery thing that she's holding, that's also cool. The assembly is good for the pieces that are built on there. I really like that. This looks nice and separate. There's a nice crisp line there. The like skulls faces in her clothes look really cool. This is a very cool model, and I like this one actually quite a bit. Trying to look at the head. The head is interesting, just like what's up here. It's very hard to tell in such a light plastic. Again, this would look better in darker plastic. That's all right. Okay, so that's it for that. So now all we have for this main box, we still have this expansion to come, but let's take a look at these minis here. There are some repeats, so there's not actually too many. One thing to note is, well, it's not all locking in great. There is some locks here. So instead of locks on the side, you can do these little push-in locks. Now, often they'll pop out pretty easily, kind of like this one. But overall, it does help keep things closed, which is nice. Almost would have been nice to have that on the other ones too. All right, so let's go ahead. All right, let's do that. Okay, we got some really small guys here. As you can see, just the tiny, this is the snakes, and they are way smaller than I thought. They are actual snake size though, so I guess that works. In fact, even then they're actually quite large for snakes. But they are certainly not a large thing. I love the twisting coils in them, though. That looks awesome. Looks super cool. Like, that came out really, really good. There are different pieces. Like, this is a separate piece. You can kind of see the line there. But for the most part, they hid all that really well, too. That looks awesome. I really, really like that. Again, it is light colored, so it's kind of hard to see all the different details. But there are sculpted eyes. The mouth line is there, too. They do have, like, these gears in their neck thing, kind of like that, which is super cool to see. Definitely interesting. Got a whole bunch of those guys. Like, a whole bunch. I also have... These are kind of hard to take out. Oh my gosh, these scarabs. Again, quite small. They're kind of the replacement of, like, a cave spider, right? Which would be the normal fantasy setting, I think. A little bit of a little plastic piece there. That's kind of interesting. I really like the thickness of it. It's like, it's got this really fat body and these really skinny legs. As you can see, they're actually quite skinny. And the detail on it looks actually quite good. This will look great painted. And as it stands now, still looks fine. But again, very light plastic, which is kind of unfortunate. I think it would show up better otherwise. These are attached. Oh, no, they're not. They're not. They're just really flush. Okay, well, that's interesting to note. In fact, it looks like nothing is actually attached except way down here on the belly, which I think works really good for the scarab. More than even like a spider or something like that. All right, next up we have this person here. I don't think this is a tomb robber. Is this a priestess? Might be. Either way, it looks super cool. Really dynamic look. Like, really, really dynamic. As like pushing back and then leaning forward with the blade out like this. I love the overhang of this too, by the way. And this blade, you can look how skinny that... Hey! Sawyer, knock it off. Look how skinny this is. It's like super skinny. Really, really cool to see that. That looks great. This is definitely, I think, one of their best models. It would have been nice to have... You see how there's like a texture? A little bit of a texture, it seems, on here. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but to me it looks a little more rough. It's got a little nicks and stuff like that, but underneath it's completely smooth. It would have been nice to maybe have it the same texture on both sides, but otherwise, see how like it comes down on the side on each one and goes up. Like it's done really, really well. And again, thick, but then gets skinnier, but like in a smart way too. Just they did a great job in here. Even these little spikes on the head here, great. Facial features look good. Little details on like the medallion thing here. And again, these little Anubis heads are cool too. The assembly is good. That just looks great. I like that one. Those are cool. We also have this guy here, the mummy, and he again looks cool. Huge hand here, not so much here. So it's kind of interesting to see the two hands, right? One's like all monster, and one's not. Love the separation of the fingers, even on the regular one, and then of course on this one it looks a lot more menacing, as it's kind of like robotic or whatever. All the little details on here are super cool. Love the like sideways. This is like a classic zombie pose, like foot wise. There's a pretty substantial mold line here, and maybe a little bit of meltiness here. Anytime they're connected to the base like this, I see that happen sometimes. But otherwise, yeah, very cool. Love the little gaps and things there. Face is cool. I love how like the head is angled down like that, and these like little gears and stuff like that for the robotic parts. Kind of steampunky. I really like. All right, next up we got some tomb robbers, and again the blade is fantastic. Look how skinny that is. Love it. Love it. Besides that one guy's, all of these have been good. Most of the people are taking up most of their base too, which is kind of interesting. This rope here is kind of cool, though I feel it's a little flat. It's a little thin. I would have liked to see it bound up a little bit, and it looks like they did do a little bit of filling here. So instead of more rope or anything like that, it kind of looks like it just goes flat there. I think it's supposed to be pants, but I'm not sold on that. To me, it just looks like the rope, but thicker. I'm not sure what this is too. Does part of the scarf looks like? Kind of interesting. Looks like it's got a blade here. Not attached though. Look, that is separate, which is super cool to see. Yeah, this lantern, same thing there. That's separate too. It looks great. These are just really good. This whole knapsack thing, like even the textures on the side and whatnot. I really like these. These are cool. These are very different than a lot of the ones that I have, so I appreciate that. See, I think this is the priestess here. This is it's kind of a weird design. Okay, so first of all, this is attached to the leg, which does help a little bit, except that the angles don't quite match, right? Like this would need to be like a little bit anyway. So it does kind of force a curve, but at least it's nice and secure. Similar style of staff, but a little bit different, but still has that hole in there, which is kind of cool. And I think straightening it like that might help a little bit. Love the point. So the arm outstretched and the separate fingers. That's super nice to see. Really cool big like helmet thing for her like pharaoh. And then of course the straps here, also very skinny. Really like that. Ripples look good. All that looks awesome. I actually really dig that. The one odd choice is definitely this like dress coming out like this and then being this thick. To me looks a little weird. I mean, that is like so wave. I mean, maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But to me, I think it looks cool like that. I don't think it looks cool like that. To me, that looks really weird. This tassel thing falling like over it though with the inscription, super cool. I do dig that. But yeah, that's a little like it, because it starts out skinny and then like gets really thick, right? And so it's a little odd. A little odd choice to me. I think this is a design choice, but it's not one I'm necessarily getting behind. All right, this guy just looks evil. My goodness. So again, unattached, and it may be fitted because it should be glued there. So if it was a little bit longer and attached right where it needed to be, that might actually be kind of nice. As it stands, it doesn't quite reach the bottom, so it's actually kind of hard to attach. Maybe to the foot. If you glued it like right there, I bet that would work. It's just a minor thing. But when they're like ABS like this, they don't always reset with hot water very well, even if you do it into ice water right after. So a lot of times it'll just kind of always be bent. I am happy that it's not breaking or anything like that. That ABS really helps with that. Great sculpt. Again, really happy with the thickness. The whole scarab look of the back here looks very nice. Like with the wings and then the chain attaching. The chain looks good. Very cool design. Really creepy feet, right? And just really, really gnarly. And then, of course, his neck jutting out the front there like that. It's just like horn, almost like a horned beetle kind of thing. It all kind of matches with each other and makes it a cool look model. Probably one of my favorites design-wise. It's just super cool and unique. All right, then we have this guy too. Oh, this is like the little cat person here. And again, they're like holding like a snake thing, which looks super cool. I'm trying to see where the snake ends. It looks like the head's right here. So this is the head kind of attached to there. It works. It's fine. It would look better painted. You'd be able to tell it more. There's a gap there as well, and the head was assembled. Though it looks really good. It makes a nice deep recess here too. Even the mouth being slightly open is an awesome thing I like. This is a little bit thicker than some of the other front pieces, but not too bad. It's still within acceptance range for me. That's fine. Yeah, otherwise, there's a little gap here perhaps where it didn't quite go down as much in the assembly as perhaps it was meant to. But everything else I think looks really good. Again, I like the gap here as well as here. Like it all flows very well. All right, we're almost done here. We're almost to the hippo. All right, here's a crocodile dude. And he's very much a crocodile guy. I like him. Cool weapons. Again, he has two of these, but they're the same size, so good for him. He found ones that are the same. Love the separation, the fact that it is separate, right? That's super cool. So that means that this piece was separate, probably right there. So assembly is nice too. Getting a little bit thicker, perhaps on the front than other spots, but otherwise fine. It looks like this was actually assembled as well. Very muscular body, and it's very much kind of a, I forget what the, like anamorphic or whatever they call that, where it's like a human body with an animal head. So the alligator head or crocodile head is separate. There's that symbol again, kind of like what was on that lady's forehead there. And looking sideways, so it's kind of like that. The mouth, which is the center point of any alligator crocodile, looks awesome. Love how it's open, looks threatening. I dig it. Just a cool pose. Almost straight leg here and then very bent here on the toes. Very cool. I like that one. All right, so it looks like we get a bigger snake. Slightly bigger. This one has like armor plating and like a robotic drill for instead of a rattle tail. So that's cool to see the armor plating and stuff. That's just neat. There's almost a chip in it right here. Interesting, interesting. Oh, it looks like it's maybe right there too. And then of course the head. It has a whole bunch of teeth, not just fangs. So that's also interesting to see. The inside of the mouth, pretty good. Mildly textured, a very soft texture, but it is not straight and flat. So I appreciate that as well. The thickness of the armor plates looks good. The coil is just awesome. I love all these different gaps in it. It'd be a heck of a hard time painting. That's one of the, I hate painting things like this because getting like in here and like in here and stuff like that could be very difficult, but very cool mini. I like that one. You get 2 of those. All right, next up, oh no, we already have one of those. All right, you know what? Let's do the hippo. I want to do the hippo. This was shown, I think, by the first time I saw Arkeis, and I was sold at that time. The fact that you have this like hippo character is just awesome. Love it. So big old hammer, huge little armor here as a hippo you would think would have. So very cool there. This is skinnier, so it's not as thick as even on the people, which is great. I like seeing that thickness more. The hair is a little weird for me. I'm not used to a hippo with hair. That's probably the one difference I have. Because you don't normally see the back of miniatures when you see the renders. The fat folds in the back though, awesome. Love it. So not just muscular. There is a kind of a gnarly mold line here. That's the first I've seen of the mold lines. And that one's pretty noticeable actually. Looks like on just that side. There's something black on there too. I don't know what that is per se. A little bit of cleanup there. The nose looks great. The whole face looks awesome. Just a cool concept. I love it. That's fun. All right, we got 2 more here. So we got 2 of these. This is the Scorpion, which is again is like a hybrid. So there's like real Scorpion in here somewhere, and it looks real. I mean, like it's not like mechanical or anything. And then there's like the tail pincher thing is mechanical. There looks like there is a saddle to actually ride it, so that's interesting. That'd be cool to ride a Scorpion that's giant like this. It's connected to the base. It looks like with none of the legs, even if they are flush. Instead, it's with this rock outcropping here. These look better, by the way. It looks kind of silly like that, right? Just like with the one rock there. If you fill this base up with them, though, it looks a lot more natural. It looks really good then in that case. And it looks like this, I don't know if it's supposed to be down on the ground. You would think it would be, just like this other one. But you could solve this by, again, putting some basing down there if that's what you're doing. Or hot water might be able to do that. The problem is you just kind of have to hold it like that and hope it then doesn't raise too much. It's kind of the hard part. But these blades in here, super cool to see that. A little bit more dangerous, more of a weapon. I like seeing that as well. So very cool. Very cool. Good assembly on this one too. And the final guy is this dude. And I must say, I think he's awesome. So I love all the gears and like those holes and stuff like that look great. The like big old like screw here. I will say it looks like this is deeper than this. It is. So like that's not super consistent there at least. The gouges and pock marks and all that on the armor look really cool. All the separation here, so you can like see inside of there looks great. Same here. Same through all of this. Like that's super good crisp lines there. That looks all great. Like I said, these gears look good. All the detail work on this armor, fantastic. The pose is cool. I like that. Kind of larger than life. I like the indent here, so that'll be easy to paint. That's nice too. The little ball joint looks like it's actually usable. Same with this, and then all the gears in here. All that actually turned out quite well. Same with here, all these gears. That's awesome. Love to see all that. Yeah, the little foot things there is cool. I don't know what this is, some kind of like plug-in thing, but it's cool too. Yeah, this turned out great. The little face is a little bit of kind of adorable. This got this big old thing in this little face. Huh, fun. All right, well guys, that is it for the core box. Let's get to the expansion and then call it a day. All right, so I took the liberty of taking off the wrapping, but that's it. I haven't opened it up. I will say it is a little bit of a cheaper box. That's often the case for these expansions, but just as an FYI. Obviously, this has the big kind of sandworm-looking kind of thing in it, which I dig. And this art for this only matches the non-KS art front of the other box. So this is episode 3.5, so it looks like it takes place kind of within the campaign. And then, of course, we have a little bit of tokens, a single card here, looks like a sticker here, some event cards, and then the mini, and then the rest is just padding. So this is way bigger than it needs to be. You can easily fit this in the core box and not have 2 boxes. Easily. That's just a joke. All right, so let's take this one mini out of this big old box. That just seems wrong. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right. Well, it is a cool mini. I'll give you that. It's not nearly as big as you would hope. You know, we get some big minis in these games, but this is probably a lot more usable. Actually, a lot of basing, more than anything else. It's like bursting out of the ground. So I appreciate seeing that. The underside of it with the like leg joints and stuff look awesome. You have these like little legs that are also still have like their own like kind of what looks like a muscle scheme. So I dig that. The inside of the mouth is sculpted on the top. I appreciate that. These little nubs are weird. I always feel them. It's kind of strange. And then the rows of teeth on the bottom look cool too. All armor. It doesn't look like there's like any eyes that I can see. There's none like in the art either. This chain here, very cool that it's like it ends here. That's like it's ripped from its chains or something like that. It has this kind of chained up backpack looking kind of thing. Lots of armor pieces here, right? All layered up, so it's definitely head first in this. Looks like 2 different symbols on each side, so that's interesting to see. And again, more chains holding this armor plating together. Overall, I think a very cool mini. Very cool sculpt. Again, it's going to be very hard to paint inside of here. That's kind of the one bummer. The fact that it's like not a lot of assembly. It's like this piece minus this. So it must have been like in half, right? I mean, this is actually quite impressive. It looks like this whole front part probably glued on, and then probably this here too. But still, this body doesn't really have a crease as I can see from any kind of building on it. Oh, looks like maybe right here. Very sneaky. Either way, like it's done very well. Very good assembly on this. Some of the best I've seen. So anyway, guys, that is Arkeis. If you have any questions, let me know, of course. If you're curious about anything, I can maybe make a comment on it, or I can keep it in mind for the review. Obviously, I will be playing this. I think my wife will be interested in maybe even painting some of the minis, if nothing else, looking at them. And yeah, let me know if you think it's okay to wait so long for a game like this. It seems like a really long wait for what they delivered. I've had way bigger deliveries than this in less time. So let me know your thoughts on that as well. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.